Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals, entrepreneurs, and business owners publish to grow their practices, inform their consumers, and to leave a legacy. We're doing a special series on elder law and estate planning, and we're doing spotlights on remarkable experts across the country and even in your town. Joining me on this segment is Christopher Mays. He's an attorney and partner with Yetter and Mays, based in Alexandria, Virginia. Christopher, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
I know elder law is a broad subject, so please let us know. In fact, I know a lot of folks may not even know what to type into Google or search to look for, solutions to their problems. Can you please tell us a little bit about your specialties in that spectrum of elder law and the types of clients that you help?
Sure. It's actually it's a relatively new, practice area. I think when I went to law school back in the early 2000s, I didn't even recall there being such a thing as elder law. But I think nowadays it probably covers things like estate planning. It would cover guardianship and conservatorship. So that's court-appointed people to manage somebody's healthcare or somebody's finances. It can include Medicaid planning. It can include basically any sort of legal issue that affects older people as a group, but those are sort of the big picture issues.
Now, I know that the recent pandemic has probably shined a huge spotlight on the gap and the need. What are some of the situations you find people in when they come to seek your help?
Well, the number one issue that people come to us for is aging sort of parents or family members. The pandemic has really put a big focus on things like advanced medical directives. So the idea of having somebody, if you're not able to manage your care, having other people manage your care, having the types of decisions that you want to have made at sort of end of life care type issues. And for a lot of people, it's just sort of made them aware. We've all sort of had to face the idea of we've really got to plan for some things we might not want to think about. And I think it's sort of forced people to think about these issues and start thinking, well, what do I need to put in place to address things that might come up?
Yeah, to your point, aging is a sensitive subject. A lot of people put their heads in the sand and they don't even want to talk about the subject. Sounds like financial planning in a lot of ways. But what are some of the myths and misconceptions that you've seen out there or heard that may keep people from being properly prepared for this point in life?
No, that's a good point. One of the things we deal with, so I work a lot with Department of Social Services, Adult Protective Services, and a lot of the people that we meet, they become, older, they age, and they really don't, it's something they've never thought about. You never think about what's going to happen if I can't really care for myself. A lot of what we do is sort of, obviously, when people pass away, estate planning type issues, but there's a lot of sort of incapacity issues that come up. And you find a lot of people in very precarious or dangerous circumstances. They've really never thought about what is going to happen if I can't care for myself, or what's going to happen if my health starts to decline and I'm not able to sort of manage my day-to-day needs of living. And if you sort of kick the can down the road far enough, you can really ignore that to the point where you get into some dangerous situations. And that, it can quickly become a crisis. And so now you can rush to find, care, people get into sort of dangerous situations in terms of, older people wandering and losing their place out in the winter and getting into some very dangerous sort of safety issues. So yeah, it's very important to at least think about these kind of things because kicking the can down the road does not serve anybody.
As you mentioned, this is a relatively new area of evolution of law, so to speak. I think the old ways of thinking it's typically like, oh, I have a will, and maybe a will is enough, is what people think. What are the main areas that you feel people really need to prepare themselves for? What are those first steps when people don't know where to start to really get themselves, a family, prepared for the situation?
No, I think that's an excellent point. A lot of people do call up and their thing is, well, I think I need a will. And certainly a will is an important thing to have. It's sort of one piece of the puzzle, but I tell people, will isn't going to do everything, right? And getting back to the point of sort of this idea of incapacity planning, what's going to happen if, I'm still alive, but I've got needs that aren't being met. Two of the big important documents that we sort of tell people you might also want to think about are powers of attorney, right? So having a family member or somebody that you trust appointed to manage your finances, or having a family member or somebody that you trust appointed to make healthcare decisions, and then telling them through something like an advanced medical directive, here are the kinds of ends of life care decisions I would like for you to make. That's a very important piece that I think a lot of people don't think about, because usually, when they think about estate planning, they think about, oh, I just need a will. But there's a lot of other things that may come into place before that. And if you don't have plans in place, then you start looking at things like conservatorship or guardianship, where you have to go to court, you have to have a judge involved, and it becomes a lot more expensive, and it can become a lot more just problematic for everybody involved.
I've heard of things like that, probate, for example, or people wanting to avoid that. What are the solid steps and the things that will absolutely prepare people so that they don't go into probate? So how do they avoid that?
A lot of people have that concern. I think, probate, if you're organized and you sort of understand the process, probate isn't that bad, but certainly it's something that can be avoided. A lot of people set up something called a revocable living trust, which I tell people it's almost like a corporation, right? And the corporation is what owns your home, what owns your bank account. And just like with a corporation, you can very easily change who the CEO is, right? The person managing your affairs. So you can manage your affairs. If you get to the point where you're not able to do that, you can appoint a family member. So usually when we're talking about avoiding probate, the main way we would do that is with the revocable living trust. But even with a will, going through probate, it's not horribly, too horribly bad. As long as you sort of understand, you have a sort of a picture of what's going to happen, and you kind of plan for it, and you have all your sort of ducks in a row, your information in one place, whether you do probate with a will or, non-probate with a trust. The key is just having a plan in place so that when the time comes, people know what to do. And if you have that, I think you're squared away regardless.
Probate sounds like catching a common cold. It's not terribly bad, but it's certainly avoidable.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I tell people, it's sort of like going to the dentist. It's not overly painful. It's not fun, but it's not the end of the world. And I think if you kind of approach it in an organized fashion, and certainly there's attorneys like me to help guide you through it. It can be just sort of like doing your taxes. It's not fun, but it's not the end of the world.
Christopher, how did you get started in elder law? What inspired you?
Well, I started off, so I graduated law school in 2004, and I started doing mostly divorce, and we call it family law, with custody of minor children and things like that. A lot of our clients we came to the point where we were dealing with our older clients, and there was this phenomenon of divorce called gray divorce. So as the baby boomers were getting older, we were looking at more retirement and estate planning and sometimes Medicaid type issues that are associated with divorce. And I sort of became that guy. And with the baby boomers, where they are at this stage in life, there became a really big need for estate planning. And the thing I like about it as a lawyer, unlike maybe divorce or some areas of the law where we're fighting each other and there's a winner and a loser, I think with this elder law, estate planning, guardianship, conservatorship, every client we work with, we kind of help them and we leave them better off than when we started. And so that's sort of a unique thing as a lawyer. We almost 100% of the people we work with, we leave them in a better position than when we started. And I think that's a very satisfying thing. And that's one of the things, with elder law that we get to do that maybe we don't get to do with other practice areas.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And that is a terrific service. Christopher, for folks listening now that could use your help, and perhaps they're in the Alexandria, Virginia area, how do they find out more, learn from you, and connect?
Sure. So we practice throughout Northern Virginia. So Northern Virginia, it's a big area of the DC suburbs. We try to sort of be user friendly. I know a lot of people probably aren't thrilled at the concept of having to work with a lawyer, but usually we have a website. It's www.yettermaze.com. We try to do sort of, with most people, a no obligation 15-minute call. So you can kind of talk to a lawyer, see if this is something that we can help you with, if this is even sort of in our wheelhouse. And, if it's something we can help you with, then we usually set up a longer meeting and we can kind of go into more detail. But usually it's that first call. We can schedule it through our website. And, that sort of gets you very quickly tied up with an attorney to kind of see if we can start working with you. Or if not, we often refer people to other attorneys who can help you.
This has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with my audience today and giving them great insights. And I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
That's Christopher Mays, attorney and partner with Yetter Maze. They can be reached at yettermaze.com. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals, entrepreneurs, and business owners publish to inform their consumers, grow their practices, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for tuning in.